The bids are open.
All right.
Oh, because I had that preset reading.
Yeah, you had that preset. I didn't create a new one since you had the preset. Okay. And Facebook is running. Now let me. Let's see. I've seen sometimes where it takes a few seconds before it shows.
It's processing video. I don't know what's that.
That says live.
You don't see that.
And I need to.
I never do this on my phone. I don't know where stuff's at.
I know what you mean. I don't use YouTube on my phone.
Also, we need volunteers in a bad way.
So I'm seeing
So
this.
if Bob's got a paper over there, and I know the meeting starts at 6, but
Let's go. But
we need volunteers for several things. Dan needs a second. Jeff needs a second. There was something that I had seen in the AAW magazine as far as a widows group, that after a Turner passes, that the group knows how to go in and price stuff and sell it for her because she may not have a clue. That's something else that I would love to look into. But right now, I need volunteers for other, in the group, okay? So if we've only got one doing it and they're sick, we're SOL. So think about it, please. What? Oh, no.
No, we did. Maybe for back up too. You didn't mention it. With volunteers.
Oh, yeah, Phil. Yeah, and Phil, because Ken was late. Not mentioning any names.
I just have so many great ideas. Make them work, make them work, make them work.
Still riding. weather provided. Well, he yeah, when he was in the race, oh yeah, it had to be. We took all that. On the trip, he was turning real fast. It looks like it is very stable. That is asking. Well, I was fine for when he came in, I gave him language. Yeah, when he was first started racing, there's one race to lose. And he borrowed a backup wheel from somebody. They have a flat and they crashed. Guy came home with him. DJ! Learning how to ride a bike. Yeah, came 2 weeks ago, he was cattle. All people.
You sitting up here? Oh, good. Who's your idea? What's it?
So you want to run the camera?
Okay, come.
I don't wanna do it.
Phil.
Okay.
We said Phil needed help.
So what's your name?
Tony? What? Tony?
Tony, I'm Phil.
Yeah.
Okay, so a quick question.
Thank you.
So what, this is, you loosen this knob, you're turning it this way. You loosen this knob, you're turning it down.
Okay.
So when you start out, we're just going to be over here at the table. Okay, so you fix it. And then later, we're going to look in the left, so we'll have to center it. And up here is
You're the wrong person doing this job.
and then if you then you can also switch on the camera above.
Oh my gosh.
I'll do that.
Okay, you do that. You do that.
Our website
website, y'all. We're www.tri-citieswoodturners. We are there, and we're also on Facebook, so like and share and tell everybody that we are here. We're a well-kept secret, not a secret.
Yep.
So you in your shop much?
I went down Saturday
Yep.
and they fixed me last month, I think.
Well, that's
They
exceptional, Dan.
They went in and they put a little clip on the leaky valve and stopped it from leaking.
Thank you, Lord. So any length of time, you were up to 30 minutes, are you any longer yet?
I rough turned the whole bowl Saturday, so, in one sitting, so.
Congratulations, thank you, Lord.
Okay, it's close enough. We've got Tony up here doing camera, helping Phil. See, he got to volunteer that quick. Wasn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Yay! So, as far as everything goes, anybody that came in late, we have wood, it's $10 for a blank, and the lathe, we have one bid in for $100, so if anybody else would like to place an offer on it, great, but we've already got it started, so anyone interested in the lathe, just let everybody know. 105. 105, okay, do I hear 110? 110, okay, do I hear 115? Okay, do I hear 120?
They're sitting back.
120? 125? I'm not an auctioneer, y'all. No, 125, no, you know, make it exciting. So our 125, we got 130, okay, 135. 135, Shush Bill. 135. Okay, we got 150. Okay, 150. Anybody above 150? 155. Next, 160. 160. 160 going once. 160 going twice. Okay, 160. We go 170. 170. 175. 175. 175 going once. Okay, 175. 180. 190. 190. We're going 190. 200. We got 200. Anybody above 200? 210? Do I hear 210? 200 going once. 200 going twice. Sold. Steve, congratulations and thank you very much. Pay the secretary. Very good, thank you so much. We'll help you get it out. Okay, so the wood, nobody wants to take any of that back home that brought it. So please, and it's to support the club, so $10 a blank. And just give it over there to Bobby. He's secretary and treasurer tonight. See, Ken Lewis has submitted a piece to the AAW for their pop exhibition. He should hear something in March. John LaChance is going to submit one to the AAW for the Beginnings exhibition, and he has to have that in by March. He had a surgical procedure done today, so he's not himself yet. Once again, the volunteers for help up here with all this. Also, everybody needs a second. Denise needs a second. She spends a lot of time here and posting to Facebook. That's her thing. So anybody that has any kind of a notion toward social media, please, because once I said, you know, we're a well-kept secret and I don't like that. We need a lot of people in here. People in their 50s would be considered young. So we need young people, y'all. Okay, so this is something that I have suggested that we do as a not-for-profit donation, since we are a not-for-profit. This is the bottom half of a usable birdhouse, and bluebirds love this. So this one Bob made about 3 years ago, and it's going strong. I have the rear view mirrors on my truck to prove it, because it just brings the birds. And we will make these and bring them into our April meeting, so they can be given to a nursing home, something along that line, so that the people that can't get out can at least enjoy something from their window. What else?
Did you want them to look like that, or?
No, just use your imagination. Don't just turn them. Just use your imagination, and that's what limits us, is our imagination. So go wild. Let's see. John LaChance had said that he is doing an event the last of April, the 26th, and the 1st of May, the 3rd, and he needs assistance in Johnson City and in Kingsport. It's like a maker's thing that he does. So we will be taking our Nova lathe and doing demonstrations for this event. Now, Bob and I can help on the 26th, but on the 3rd, that's my anniversary, and I'm not going to be on the map. So he needs assistance with that, because with his surgical procedure, handling the lathe is not going to be easy. So anybody that wants to help John, please reach out and let him know that you're available. And in June, we're going to do another donation, so I'd like to do this once a quarter. That's the only way we're going to get any kind of social exposure. Also, I want very much for us to consider doing just a booth at Jonesboro Days, and just take time out, whoever wants to come, just to be present. We will have a banner that will explain who we are, and whoever works this, you can kind of just, that we've got the invitation cards over there, just to tweak the interest to see if somebody would like to come and experience what we do, because it's a lot of fun. And also the fair. The week of the fair, that's going to be a big one, so we need a lot of volunteers on that one. Maybe a couple of hours. We'll discuss it more, but these are things that, with a booth and the visual exposure, I think we can build our club, and that's the goal. Also, the AAW posted something as far as the widows. Anybody in here with that kind of knowledge that could go in and price items as needed? It won't happen a lot, but when it does, I'd like for us to be a resource that a widow could reach out to, and we could lend some assistance and not ask anything from her, just help. So that's a big thing right there. I think that's all I have, but I know that Renaud has something. Do you want to do that now or after?
Sure.
Okay.
One of the other, I'm sure y'all are having trouble hearing me.
If I have to.
One of the other organizations that a lot of us belong to is Tennessee Craft, and the chapter here is the Northeast chapter of Tennessee Craft. It covers all of the crafts from our wood turning, as well as jewelry and fiber and clay and all the other crafts. But our meeting in February is on the 25th of February, on Tuesday evening. And this coming meeting, we're going to go over how to open your own Square account, how to use the Square account to do the accounting for your sales, both cash and check as well as credit, how to use free software to keep your accounting records so that you don't have to go root through a whole bunch of handwritten notes as to what's happened at the end of the year when you need to do income tax, or when you need to do anything else. So Anybody, it's open to anybody. You don't have to be a member of Tennessee Craft. And it'll be at St. John's Episcopal Church, which is on North Rome Street. It's
300 North Room.
300, okay. We looked at it, it's 300 North Rome Street. It's the stone church across from the library. And so probably everybody's seen that stone church with the red doors. And the entrance is on the south side, or the library side, coming in the back door, because that's the one we'll be able to let everybody in and back out. Because it's like all the other churches nowadays, they gotta be locked up. I know a lot of us are old enough that no churches were never locked. That's not these days. Does anybody have a particular question about that?
Denise has something to say to that too. As far as the booth at the Christian church?
Yeah, Tennessee Craft has done the Jonesboro, or the Storytelling Festival in Jonesboro at the church. And they've invited us to come back for Jonesboro Days, which we did not do. But I'm sure that they would welcome the Woodturners as well to set up down there.
Okay, and it's a great location at the Christian church. So that's a great resource, and we would get better exposure. It's on the corner, so anywho, it's something that we can do. So I think, who else has anything they need to add to or take away or just tell me to hush? It's Renault's turn. What? Oh yeah, sing. See, you miss a month and you go brain dead. Okay, so we have our instant gallery. We're going to start at this end. Who we got? Oh, Renault. All right, so we start with Renault.
This is what we're going to do tonight, is show you how to do a gloss finish with spar varnish and how to enhance a grain with color. And I'll speak more to that detail. But this is the finished product that I won't be able to show you tonight because I've had a little bit of failure in my prep for the course tonight. So. But that's the type of thing. The process and the technique was taught at a week-long seminar with Steve Center.
Okay. Right next. Who we got here? These are gorgeous. Jerry?
So this was inspired from a visit to Rockler in Charlotte, North Carolina, on a display table, and I said, I could make one of those. And so took 25 pen blanks, or made 25 3/4 by 3/4 by 7-inch pen blanks, and then cut up some popsicle sticks, cross-hatched them to make kind of a mold to segregate the spacing, and then I hot glued the ends and made me a mold. So obviously then I glued it up, poured the epoxy, let it sit in the pressure pot for 20 or 48 hours, and then burned it. But what was interesting about this is actually Paducah, but as you go deeper, your design changes, right? Particularly when you get into the sections where the pieces meet, and so sometimes you get into a spot and you just got a big blob of epoxy, and so it's really interesting as you start turning. But if you come back and look, the inside I wish was on the outside, because I mean that figure inside is just tremendous. But that was very fun. The one I seen that they still had popsicle sticks that was left over, and there was their epoxy had bubbles in it, and so this one actually turned out pretty decent. And instead of just seeing the squares at the end, I just tried to turn a base and then put some epoxy there. But that was a very fun project to do. I really enjoyed it. Any questions? What's that?
I bet that'd be pretty for lighting.
Yeah, oh, it would. It does shine through, yeah. Any questions?
He worked on that thing for like 2 months. This is just a tiny little urn, and it doesn't have the threads. There you go, that's what I was looking for. But my sister got diagnosed with cancer, they gave her 3 months to live. And she asked Jerry and I if we would make her 12 little urns, vessels, containers, so that after she passed away, we could put ashes in there and give them to her best friends and family members. So Jerry and I have been doing the weekly. I got tickled, Jerry called them a urn one night, so we're like, we're turning urns. And but this is the reason I brought this one is it's got felt on the bottom. It's not, you guys do such amazing work, but the wood on this one, as I started, finishing it, I don't know if you looked at the wood, the grain, and for me, a piece that's like a bowl, the more defects it has, the more rot it has, the more wormholes it has, I like it. The worst, all that, I like it better. So this is just one that I made. And then, it's nothing fancy, but what I loved about it was just the wood itself, the design. I mean, it's amazing, I think, when you turn something and you have all this beautiful wood. So that's one of the little urns that we turned for her. And obviously, when we put the ashes in, we're just going to glue them shut, so they won't be open or anything again.
So what's your finish?
Like on Polly, my buddy Harold. I mean, Jerry does Yorkshire grit and all this and that and everything, and I'm just like Harold. I like to shine, and I like to write on Polly. Now, I'm interested in tonight because, I want to expand my knowledge base by far, and so anyway, but that's just something simple that, it means a lot just for her, so. We got little short, fat ones, and we got taller ones, and we got all kinds of them, so.
You want me to hold them up and you talk?
No. Okay, thank you so much. Yay!
Thanks, you go next year.
Now.
All right.
Thank you, ma'am. As you guys can tell, I haven't been doing much turning the past 3 weeks. They did a knee replacement on me 3 weeks tomorrow. So I brought a history lesson. Just something I picked up. Old pastors, when they write a good sermon, they put it in the locker, and then they pull it out every couple of years as though it's new, adapted a little bit. Well, that's what I did. I started looking around for stuff I could do. My wife and I were up in our 51st state in underground Montreal, and I hadn't started turning yet, but I saw this piece of laid up wood, and it was $70 Canadian at that time, which was about 42 bucks. And I said, I can make these. I've never done it at all, but I'm going to pass that around. Here you go. None of this stuff, well, there's one piece that is kind of fancy, but the next thing, history. Tell me what this is. This is the first bowl I ever made. The very first bowl I ever made. And it was made over in North Carolina. I lived over there. I paid, I think, 40 bucks for the course. It took me about 3 hours to make this piece of junk. But it was my very first bowl, and I kept it for just that reason. It's Brazilian mahogany. It was finished with an oil, and it took me about 3 hours. I think the course was 4 hours, and it took me 3 to scratch this out. There you go. You can pass that one along. The next thing, I'm just rooting around to bring some stuff from inside the house. This piece of Honduran rosewood burl was given to me by our woodturner up in Kentucky, and he brought back a container load of it. And he gave me 2 pieces. And this piece right here, today to buy, if you can find it anywhere, because they put an embargo out of Honduras for rosewood burl, because everybody's going down there cutting all the trees now. This piece right here, I think, was about $85 or $90. I used the John Beaver technique, which I will be happy to talk about at some length, but that's what put the wave of the little piece of maple that I had in it. And after I got it done, I said, there's no way I can even recover the cost of wood, so I kept it in the house. So, Honduran, rosewood burl, and a piece of maple.
Could you explain that, just give in detail?
Yeah, I can tell you real quick. You start with a square block of wood.
Quick, really?
And then you take on the side of the wood and you scribe an arc. You put it through the bandsaw. Now you've got two pieces of wood, and in between you got this wave. Well, the thing to do is drill a couple of holes through both ends so they don't go all the way through. The top's going to go away. Then you get a small piece of maple, and you soak it real wet and put it in the microwave wrapped up in a wet piece of paper towel. And when it's nice and warm and pliable, you put it in between the two, you glow them up, you put some pegs in to hold it down, and you wait for it to dry. Then you take it out, put some tight bond in both sides, and now you've got a square bowl with an arc like this. When you put it on the lathe, guess what happens? You get that wave. John Beaver does some of the most amazing work, and he demonstrated at the Asheville Club, and he had all kinds of this stuff. So, and I went to his class, and that's what came out of it. Now this right here is a piece of holly, and the fellow that helped me with this is a fellow by the name of Ron Layport. Ron Layport's in all the great books. This was the very first class he had ever agreed to teach down in Aramark. And my wife, I called him when I saw his work, and I said, can I come up and hang around in your shop? He said, my shop's in my basement. I don't take students. I said, okay, thanks. We talked for a while. And he said, are you exploding stuff? And I said, yeah. And he said, well, then you're doing the right thing. Keep blowing stuff up, we'll stumble on something. But about, I guess, a year later, I'm looking through the Aramon catalog, and by darn, there he is with teaching a course. So I picked up the phone and called him, and my wife and I were two of the 5 people that made the 5-person minimum so that he would teach the class. And the very first one he did. His work sells for $15,000 a piece. Okay, he's in a totally different class. He had been Faux in the same kind of atmosphere. But he helped me make this in 3 days. And he wouldn't sign it that he was the teacher. He said, just leave it alone. It's been sitting in my house now for about 12 or 15 years. And I'll pass that around, but don't make a Frisbee out of it. And thank you very much.
All right, next. This is dark. Colored pencil, so what's the?
Put a can.
I'll give it to you.
I had a friend, his name was Tom Iwaki. I know a lot of people in here knows him. And he would glue these pencils up and make necklaces out of them. So I had one left in my shop, laying there for 2 or 3 years. So I turned my friend's daughter, she teaches school, a pendant out of it. And I thought it was pretty. Something different.
Tom was a good man.
Tom was, oh, that, I wouldn't try to touch his work. He'd even go to Florida in the wintertime and go out in the middle of the street and pick up
Pieces of palm.
pieces of palm, the palm nuts, and cut them up in little pieces and make up necklaces out of them. Beautiful pieces. I picked up one of Stan's magazines last meeting time, and it had the picture in it and the instructions on how to make a toothpick holder. So this is my toothpick holder off a piece of cherry limb. turned up, and the little bucket is a piece of curly maple. Good dowel up to it all.
Well, Harold said that was real cherry. I was expecting red, but he said that's real cherry.
That's a piece of true cherry. It's not wild cherry. Next.
This is an attorney. I've attorney for a long time, and you watch a lot of videos, and you see people throw a piece out of a chuck and reverse turn it, and it runs true. I can never get them to run true. I don't know how many people have that problem where you turn it around and you put it back, you know, finish your turning. But I did a lot of looking on the internet, and I think I found out why. And maybe some of you might want to try this thing. If you look close at this thing, there's one of these, if you close the jaws all the way in tight, there's a little gap in one of them. And that's not supposed to be there. And that's just enough. You project that out 6 or 8 inches, and that'll make your piece wobble and won't be wrong. And the solution is very simple. When you push your jaws in the chuck, you don't tighten them up. You turn it all the way in, and then tighten it. And you'll have all these things touching perfectly. I can pass that around, and you can see that little gap on the side right here. And that's something that I learned, returning for a long time. And it really, it seems to work. You see these guys in the videos, and they just slap it up there, and it works. And I really couldn't do that. This is another nostalgic piece. I looked at the date. I made this in 1988. It's a mountain laurel. And people ask me my favorite wood, and this is a there's a lot of it around here. It's hard to turn because it's full of dirt and rocks. It's a root laurel. But that's my favorite piece.
Okay. Next. You see how you lift that? Threw me off too, but we're gonna we'll have an explain.
Anyway, this is a maple limb I have. When I first got it, I chopped off a couple sections right away and got some really nice, creamy white, almost alabaster looking boards out of it. And then I left to rest, about 4 feet maybe, laid on my carport for several minutes. And one day I figured I'd go out there and see if I could get something out of it. And that's what, when I cut into it, that's what it looked like. So that was a nice surprise. The finial base is mahogany. I bet it was shorter and shorter. Anyway, it's got a dogwood threaded insert, kind of a little first.
Hand chase.
Yeah, the hand chase. So cool. Finish your shot. Beautiful. Nice.
Bob?
We sew. She sews a lot. She's got a lot of extra fabric laying around. So I wrote me a piece of cloth up, high as I could get it. It was way bigger than this. Put it in the mold. Took about 3 quarts of epoxy. 5 days later, I turned the vase. It's got mahogany with a piece of maple in the middle, and it's completely waterproof. So they can put flowers in it, put water in it. And I watch Sprague a lot on TV. He uses that Waterlux. I don't know so much about the finish, but it takes 24 hours just for a coat to dry. So I'm really interested in your finish tonight. So waiting a day for a finish to dry is a long time.
Okay. Oh, Scott, yay! Scott's back.
Bill and I got a hold of some pecan, threw it out back, let it set for a while, and swallowed it up real nice. And we turned a couple bowls on it. No, this is Crayon, Krylon. Oh, thank you.
Okay, and because I like to complicate everything, ask Bob, he'll tell you. I decided that this was something I wanted to give a shot to see if I could do a balance thing, and I think Denise wanted to cuss it, but anyway, it does balance. Ta-da! So there it goes, it worked. And this one, so this is dogwood, padauk, and walnut. This is redbud and a silver maple burl. And this is those colored tongue depressors that I glued to a piece of cedar and put epoxy around. It's never simple. And it does balance, but it takes a minute, so just work with me here. Come on, you can do it. Yay! Take a picture. But anyway, that's just what I like to do. Now, with no further ado, we have Mr. Renaud.
All right. Like I said, this is, let me get back here. What we're doing is showing how this kind of finish. These pieces have two coats on them. And like I said, I went to a class with Steve Center and learned the technique. I then went about getting ready for this presentation by forgetting what I was taught. And sure enough, there was a reason. If you put this one over there, okay? Okay. This is the orientation that the ones I sent back, in other words, they are got tip right in the center, or near the center. And you turn it, dry it, and then return it. One of the things when you're turning a piece that's in the center of your log is the fact is when it shrinks, it doesn't change dimension very much, so you can turn it pretty thin on your first pass, and then finish it up. The crack is in the place that's controlled. But
What does that mean?
well, this didn't split. You'll see those pieces are not split. One of the biggest things you have with turning wood and leaving the pith in it, no matter what the orientation is, that's the origin to the split.
No.
And so our general techniques is we don't do this. In other words, our general technique is the fact that we cut it in half, take the tip out, and then you've got the regular split. But if you can see that there, you can see pretty prominent, grain, open grain. Okay? And, you can see that a really open grain, and that's what I filled with red. Because that's what I was taught, and that's what I did for those pieces. But I hadn't turned anything this winter, and so I had some pieces of hickory that I was going to turn faceplate with orientation, not along the grain, but faceplate. And so I did. I got a couple of pieces. But the grain is too tight in this orientation, and so I couldn't reproduce the red like I have in that piece right there for our demonstration tonight. I'll show you exactly how to do it. And I'm also going to, the main thing though is to show you how to put the spar varnish on your piece. Lowe's is where I bought this week. I got another one up here for me to work on. And so it's readily available. It gives a high gloss finish, just like you saw. And one of the things about using the spar varnish, which is not what's written on the can, by the way, you buy clear crystal spar varnish. You don't buy the satin. When you want satin, I have it in here. I don't see it. You use 4/0 steel wool. That you take this cloth, you take 4/0 steel wool, rub it down, and you got a nice satin finish. The beauty of clear, crystal clear, is the fact there are no solids. So do not stir it. Do not mix air into your product. Use it as is. Okay? And so you can float on in large quantity, and that's what I'm going to do first. Now, it won't take me very long to put the finish on this. But then it has to spin at 60 RPM for 15 minutes. So we're going to do this first, and then I'll do some more information. And what that happens during the 15 minutes, this is see, it does chuck up, but after the 15 minutes, it's not dry, but it's set, okay? What this gives you is a finish that flows out on a round surface without making drips, and like it would if you had a flat surface, you can get that nice, smooth, full finish on the end, which you'll finally do when you finally turn the bottom off, and you just do it flat and finish it up. And so this lets it get finished after 15 minutes. You can then take it off the lathe, and it's set enough, not set enough to grab the paint, but set enough that it's not going to flow anymore. Then, in between 3 and 4 hours, depending on temperature and humidity and all those things, you can then sand it for another coat. Spar varnish does not adhere to a previous coat. You have to have a mechanical finish. So every coat that you put on, you have to sand between coats. The wood is sanded at 220. You sand between coats at 220. And then you just put the next coat right on.
Question.
Yeah, go ahead.
They also sell a spray in spar varnish.
And it works. The difference is like any spray, you don't get as heavy a coat.
Exactly.
Okay?
It's aerosol.
Right. So this will give you a heavy coat so that the 2 passes gives you the finish that you saw. Okay? And so one of the things you get here is a heavy coat that doesn't run. We put it on with ready? Oh, you want it? Okay. We put them out That's what I put it on with, is a sponge applicator. And they're obviously throwaway applicators. But I used this one first over 48 hours ago. And so if you want to work, put finishes on for 4 or 5 days, all you have to do is wrap it up in cellophane. Keep oxygen out of it. If you want it to last several weeks, you wrap it up in cellophane and put it in the freezer. Okay? And I'm cheap enough. I use it. Okay. Again, the object is put on a thick coat. This isn't a thin coat process. Oh, yeah.
From here? No, that one, that.
Okay.
There we go.
All right, so again, you're not trying to, as you put this on, you put on a thick coat. You see how detailed I'm looking at the process, right? Okay. And then you take off the excess. You don't have that on. You can put enough on there so that it'll just drip. And then, okay, you'll notice that the light has a little bit of waviness to it on the light streak that's on the part, because that had the brush marks. But as this turns, that'll turn perfectly straight, because it'll be a totally smooth surface. Okay.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Your RPMs change with a larger diameter,
The opposite.
opposite?
But what you don't want is you don't want enough centrifugal force that goes to all the high spots. And so about 50 or 60 RPM is what you want to go for.
Was that eliminating runs or anything?
Yeah, that's what it's doing. It's on there thick enough that it would run. If I stop this, it will run. Okay. And so that's what the 15 minutes for is to let it stay totally flow down, and then be able to yeah.
So if you use it on a larger diameter bowl,
It's best to slow the speed down a little.
put it down.
Yeah, and you'll find that you've got to pay attention to the geometry some, because again, it wants to climb, not go down, so the speed makes it go up. And so if you've got something that has a really big variation in there, you may have to slow it down a little more. But a small piece like this, we're running at 61 RPM, and that's as slow as this will go. So I have on my lathe at home, which is the same as our other lathe in here, I have an outboard that comes in, because it'll only go down, I think, to 150 RPM. And I've got a side piece on there that does a step down for me with another chuck up here, so that I can get my speed down below 50 or 60 RPM. And so that's the main key, is to get that down. And you can see we've got a pretty good flow on that. I could have put more on there. Like I said, usually I have to drink more than this. I'm not going to put that up yet. So, the next thing is that, way I put the, this is just acrylic paint that you get from Michael's or Hobby Lobby or whatever. And that's what goes into the drain. I'm also cheap with my rubber gloves. They are disposable, but I use them over and over.
Now, is that a side drain or an end drain again? The bowl you're.
This one is side drain. This was the plan that didn't come to fruition. Let's see if I can get a little focus on this. Just a second. Okay. Now, what happens is when you, how about change the application? Yeah, have a look at that. Like I said, hickory, open drain. I've done this several times. You see the pieces that I got out there, works fine. And so I had a piece of hickory, but it was already cracked, and so I had to do the faceplate orientation to get the piece in. And so I decided that, sure, why not, right? It's hickory, it's open grain. But, I don't know if you can see, but what happens is when you cut, instead of along the grain, you're cutting the end grain, the pores are real small. And I couldn't get paint in the pores. And, in the last 2 days, that's I didn't give up easy. I kept trying something different. I sand it all off and do it again, and et cetera. But I finally decided that what I was doing was not paying attention to how I'd been taught. I was doing something different. So, this piece, and I'll show you how to put a finish on that, because this piece, you'll notice, doesn't lend itself very well to the squeegee process that I just did on that. And so you can do a natural edge with this same process. It just takes a little bit of difference to put it on there.
So,
Yeah,
is this a stain or a dye?
this is neither. Okay, stains and dyes are thin. They're to penetrate wood. Okay, so that's a good point, because I hadn't mentioned that. This does not go on first. This goes on second. In other words, you get the finish that I just put on. In other words, this piece will now won't fit tonight, but I gotta have 4 hours, 3 or 4 hours. But this piece will be sanded, and then the paint put into its pores.
After you put the spot varnish.
After I put the first coat of spar varnish. And when we stop this in, what have I got, 40, we're only 6 minutes into our 15 minutes. When I stop this, we should be able to see a lot of still open pores, okay? Because you notice, even though that's a thick coat, the pores are big enough that when you do your first coat on any piece, it goes into those pores. You know, one of your problems that you want to do is always fill that pore, so you get a nice smooth finish. So that was the trouble with the other parts that I did, try to put my finish on.
Did you try and put it on before you put the spar varnish on?
The problem, I haven't, okay? The problem is that if the paint penetrates the wood at all, then it doesn't work. You only want it to penetrate the pores. Okay? And so, if it goes in, even a non-stain and non-thin color would penetrate penetrate the non-core part of the wood some, and then you've got color in the wood as well as in the boards. And so I haven't tried it, I thought about it, but I didn't get around to giving that a try, for that design. So this is, what you put the coloring into it. And I'll put some coloring on these and show you how that's done. Oh my goodness. I knew I forget something. We'll show you what it looks like. I did forget the 223 cents. Yeah. You can't get together and get everything. So, you take your piece that has a finish on it, and I have this finish, this is one coat finish on the inside. And I will put the color in there. I don't have the sandpaper, knock it back out. This only takes about 5 minutes to do. And you put it on. Now, Steve Center said there's only one type of paper towel. Now, I cannot explain that. I can tell you how he explained it, that you need to use Scott paper towels. Because he says they don't fall apart and they blend up. So, you take the paint, and all you're trying to do is get it to work into, let's see, where are we? I will do.
You have to let that dry for 4 hours before you put the paint on?
Yes.
Okay.
There's a Scotch pad. There's a Scotch pad in there, it's just rough.
Not too, no, you can be around 220. You can try it a little finer, but it'll leave a lot of scratches. Okay, so that's all you're doing. It's going to have paint. If you can see in here, it actually has filled with grain in some of these areas. That may not be that bad a job on the inside. You sure wasn't looking on the outside. I don't know, we don't have anything
I
that's
didn't
left
see.
over for anything.
I didn't see anything.
But in this will be, this acrylic, is, like dry now. Okay, it's really fast. So just set it aside for about 5 minutes. And, you can see that there is more color in the grain. Can you see that? Okay. So that's what you're going for, and then all you're doing is take some 220 and take off the red color. It'll probably take off a little bit of the spar varnish. You really don't care, because you're going to put another full coat over the top of that.
Put that back on the lathe and set it.
Yeah. One of the things about this whole process is that you're going to coat on the lathe while it's turning. Okay? And so you always want to leave your connect how you mount it. You need to leave your mounting on there, so that you can do that. I hand sand the color because it's not an even. In other words, you don't want to have something. It's not an even coat, and if you turn it on the lathe, you put pressure on it, then you're not sanding where it's heavy and where it's not heavy. You can see some of this is heavy, and some of it's not heavy. So I hand sand it. It's not very hard, because again, you don't have that much on top of the surface, and you've got that spar varnish underneath, so you just sand it down. You can see that I've sanded in my attempt on the outside, but you can see there's a few colors in here, but I've sanded it down to where there's very little spar varnish left, but there's still color in the grain, where I got it in the grain, because it didn't work on this type of organization. So it's a good process. It works fine, but turns out this isn't the orientation you want to do. I'll sand this all out completely, just finish it, just clear. Like I said, I'm lazy. Review.
My grandson says you could submit an article to the Tight Blood Gazette.
Okay, where are we? Okay. I don't know. It doesn't really show up that well on the open way. You can see a little bit in the flare right there, but it's still quite open drain. And what we'll do.
Now, would you sand it at this point, or would you wait several hours?
The spar varnish required, it says on the can 4 hours, I've done 3 hours. So what I'm saying is after 4 hours, it's sandable for the next coat, sandable for wooden.
Sandable for putting the red on?
Yeah, you just put after 4 hours, you just put the red on. You don't have to sand the red. And then 5 minutes after that, you can sand the red off, the excess red off, and put your next coat on there. So you can put, start here, 4 hours later, put the red paint on, and sand it. It'll take you about 15 or 20 minutes. Put the final coat on, and that's what you got. Now, handing this off to each other is not going to be easy. But have it. Okay, now. The other style.
How do you dress? Let's be on the bottom.
Down here, okay, of course, how I finish the bottom of my pieces is that I put the tailstock here, and on this end, I have for my lathe, I didn't look at the lathe, I have for my lathe, I turned a piece of, I think it's oak. I turned a piece of oak with the paper, and about this big around, and put a piece of conveyor belt on the end. Big, conveyor belt. And so that goes on the inside. And it can, and it sticks out this far, so I can do a fairly deep piece with my tailstock here, and then I just turn it down. And then whatever is left, like this little piece right here, I'll sand off with power sander. And then end up with a slightly greased bottom. And once that's done, then when you get ready to finish it with the spar varnish, you have to put it up. In this case, I have to block it up, okay, because this will tip over. But I'll put it up so that it's got a flat top, and then I'll just put the spar varnish on it. On this piece, this would be the bottom of the piece. In other words, this would be completely gone. So this will be the bottom of the piece. On this, let's see, is this piece? Now, this one, I have another one I'll turn and look at a little bit different. If I wanted to turn a base,
Look at the inside of this.
You mean the like,
No.
how would I finish it?
Yes.
That one's small enough, I probably use flat black.
I'm sorry?
That one is small enough that I probably use spray flat black.
Okay.
So all I have to do is just finish up. I do the inside just like I do the inside of this at the top. But there's no reason to have a good finish inside on something that's small.
Thank you.
Now, the other thing I did, because these are not my jobs, these are not my jobs, I put tape on the jaws, because this one's going to have to have a finish all the way down right next to the jaws. At home, it's my jaws. It gets enough that you can notice it, you send it out. But that'll keep the finish off of that piece. Now, the difference we're going to do here, this is raw, so this is kind of like it would be finished without those pieces of red in it. So like I said, you have to look at the quality of the finish, not what my demonstration finish was like. And so what we've got here is, you notice if I did the squeegee, I've got open air that would catch the brush and not work. So what you do here is just a little bit different, but not much. And I finish all my pieces, whether it be natural edge or round like a bowl or whatever, with this same process. And so what you have to do is put the piece, just put it on without doing the rotating. And here you've got to be a little more, this type, you've got to be really careful. It's easy to get drips when you put it on this way. I didn't look closely, I assume there are no drips on that piece that's being pressed in. And I'll also tell you how to handle that, because you get a little drip, and this polyurethane is air dry, you know, it's air, and so if you get a big drip on there, when you finish, you say, oh, here's this big drip on here. Well, guess what? It's not cured underneath the top of that drip. And so after your 4 hours and you looked at it and it's cured enough to sand, it's really not cured enough to sand the drip because there's raw underneath that. So I'm going to dry brush it. And that's how you can finish any piece, obviously, is put it on, try and make sure you got a good even coat, and then turn it on so it'll flow out. The other thing that happens with this spar varnish is that after you use it, you've got it open, you use it, you've got it open, you use it. It will skim over anything. Guess what that does? It smears the rest. So all you have to do is break the skin off, keep on going. Okay? I threw away a can yesterday that had, where I had pushed it over to the side, I had skim that I had pushed off, it was that thick. It was down to about this, I said, it's not good. So So just because it's skimmed over, does that mean that you got bad, varnish underneath it? You have good varnish, you just have to break the skin before you get down to the varnish. It still doesn't use that much, and so, this is about $22 for a quart. The quart that I threw away was 2.5 years old. You can get an awful lot of finish out of it. And it's a good, simple way. It gives you a good finish. You saw that was raw that I passed around to you. Now, this cellophane that I use for wrapping my it's just half a roll cut in, a full roll cut in half. They won't fall. They won't cut it that way. But it makes it easy. Should make it just a little bit longer, so when I seal this, which I couldn't get a good seal on here, you'll actually seal it on the. So if I made it just a little bit longer.
You put it in the freezer after you do that?
If you're going to keep it for a week or two, if you're going to keep it for a day, see, like I said, this is 2.5 days old, and it's totally completely pliable, does a good finish. But yeah, if you're gonna, if it's gonna be a week before you do your next batch, throw it in the freezer, then get it out, let it thaw a little bit. It doesn't take long because there's not any water in that. And go on back to business. And of course, those foam, I think they might even be up to $1. I think they're 69 cents to $1. So, you hadn't lost anything to say. I never got around to it. It beats having to get a high dollar brush, because putting on a clear varnish finish, if you're painting a clear varnish finish, you need to really have a high quality brush, so that you don't get, I showed you earlier, I have all those streaks in there. Well, that's what you have in the finished product if you weren't using a high quality brush. So if you got this process, it'll flow out, and those streets and valleys will come to an even finish. That's basically what I had to present, and be glad to answer any questions you have to.
Isn't there a chemical difference between spar urethane and spar varnish?
No, they're all urethane. Varnish and urethane are interchangeable. Now, spar varnish is chemically different than some other varnishes / urethanes because it has some UV protection in it, because it's made for outdoors, for boats, outdoor products. But that's the only difference. I don't know what chemical, I don't know anything real about what chemical it is. But that's the only difference in spar varnish over any other urethane, like you put on your floor, all the urethane things on your floor. It's the same, the varnish is the same chemical. Now, it's not a shellac. The shellac is a natural product. And it's not a lacquer, because that's an alcohol-based product. And I did learn something here this past year that I didn't know about lacquer finishes. How many of you know what blue tape does to a lacquer finish? I didn't either. blue tape will ruin a lacquer finish.
What about painter's tape?
Yeah, painter, blue painter's tape. And it's actually on the package. If you'll get a package of it and read it, it'll tell you that. But this craftsman did a beautiful job for me. He's been in the business a long time. I've certainly been working with wood a heck of a long time. We got all the equipment, spray lacquer finish on this nice, beautiful thing. But to assemble it, you need to have some blue tape on places to know where he could drive his nails through to support. And when he took the tape off, the finish was gone. And so he called Sherman Williams, and the local people didn't know anything about it. When their lead guy came down and said, "Oh yeah," he says, "you can't put blue tape on a lacquer finish. It'll milk it. It'll make it milk."
Not the green tape, not the green or the yellow.
Some of the other tapes, you need to read the package. Okay, but some of the other tapes can work on the lacquer. But the blue tape, the chemical in its adhesive will totally milk your lacquer finish. So you've got to sand it off. We had to sand it off, refinish it. So you can keep learning all your years. It's amazing. Any other questions?
So is there, so put the red paint in,
Yeah.
this would be a fairly open ground.
Yeah, any open grain, I've never tried it with oak. Oak's got a tremendous open grain. You've got ash that's an open grain. But I did find out doing this, that depending on where you cut that grain is how open it is. And if it's like the piece I passed around, you can see there's a lot of openness to it, and it's going to be, paint's going to go in there real well. But when I did these that I was going to use for my demonstration, it said, you missed the point there somewhere. And it still has got some little paint that went in there. I first said, okay, I'll sand this back down, and I'll make sure that I use compressed air, make sure I didn't leave anything in the pool. Nah. I said, well, you know, my red paint, it's not as old as I am, but it's no spring chicken either. And so it's fairly thick. And I said, maybe a fresh bottle of paint will do it. And this is a fresh bottle, and it is a lot thinner than what I had. You know? So what I did is I came here tonight and showed you my failures and my successes, which are extra. So putting the paint, you need to, at least with the hickory, and a small hickory like this small piece, you need to turn it in the spindle orientation so that it opens up the grain. So the bigger the grain's open, the better you're going to be able to put something in the grain. I don't believe, I think Richard, you have, and some of you all have used waxes into the grain. And those will work well. In other words, if you had one that you wouldn't even be able to get wax in this grain. I mean, it's, on the end grain, on the side here you could, but on the end grain right here, it's so tight you can't even see open pores. So, as long as you got an open pore that you could use a wax in, then you can use this technique. And you could also, a lot of you use a lot thinner finish. A wipe-on poly. Use a wipe-on poly. That might work with a really small pore. So, again, you want, after you put your first coat on, you want it to be, you can see the pits in there. And then your color will work. I'm disappointed I don't have my center because it looked like that.
We'll stop recording and do a stop all here, and then you can go from Facebook, because we get both to Facebook and YouTube.
Very good. Any other questions? So, like I said, some of the waves going to go down to low enough speed. And so you got to figure out how to get the low enough speed. Like I said, I had an out figure that I got my speed lower down. The Powermatic will go down low enough. That was what was being used when I took the glass at Street Center. It was a Powermatic. And they will go down slow enough to get the finish on it.
Renee, how long have you been turning?
2001, 2002. Woodworking,
Yeah.
woodworking since 64.
Okay,
That's what we use.
okay.
So if you use something like oak, which we think for it, would that be, you wouldn't have that problem?
Not getting in the ground. Yeah, no, and you can, this is gonna really be hard to pass around. Without sanding it down. No, just grab the bottom right there. Across, no, just across the bottom. Yeah, like that. And then when you pass it on, you're gonna have to go here and let them go.
You just carried it around, let everybody look at it. Oh my gosh.
You can see that it got down into a lot of that, so that one makes sense. Like I said, I tried 3 or 4 different times. I found it. This is, when you do the side drain, you get a really open pool. So that gets really
Priceless, somebody took a picture.
dynamic when you've got all that. I had one piece, of course, I sold it a long time ago. I had one piece that had a knot in the side, and the drain went out from the knot. It looked like a spider. I thought about that for this demonstration. No, for some reason, I think red goes, because you know, you've got your box elder and red. Green looks like something's wrong with it to me. And so I haven't I haven't visualized the color. You can use any color. Okay. And of course, reds come in a lot of colors too. And there's also, which I haven't done, not only can you get things in different colors, but you can get things that have fluorescence. So when I went and bought the red paint this morning, when they opened at 9 o'clock, their paints choices were about 50. So, you know, whatever you think would.
And that would work right up the hole. That would work.
I think the red.
That's pretty cool.
You know, same in the box. I think the box, you know.
Do it this way.
Well, once again, you're limited by your imagination.
That's right. It's
Right.
That's the center. Work.
And if you're colorblind or not.
Well, for Richard, you see that when I think that these pieces have a much more prominent grain, right, Richard?
Yes.
Much more prominent grain.
Bobby too.
Okay. Yeah, if you're red green colorblind, it doesn't do you much good, but it does make it prominent, so it still stands out because the grain, and that's the other thing with in my opinion, it's always hard to get my opinion. See, I can make good clothes. Is that the hickory is pretty bland, and so it really doesn't make a really good piece because you really don't see the grain. Now, this shows a little bit, but okay, we're over here. But it's just kind of a beige finish. You can put it inside, but not outside. Yeah, on the edge. And of course, I didn't show it on turning that piece, but all you do for the finish on the bark is you just take it and go. you don't have to worry about too little or too much, because it's all rough and it's not going to flow out everywhere. And so, usually only when I'm finishing the inside, I go to finish the bark. But we can,
Would you put a second coat in that bark?
the second time around, sometimes, it doesn't change anything. You know, the second coat on the bark,
It doesn't adhere to itself.
no, and I wouldn't sand it, but what mechanical thing would happen to it that could knock it off? What I'm saying is, it's mechanically locked in, not, you don't have to have sandpaper mechanically locked in, it's mechanically locked in because of the roughness of the bark.
Oh.
So it's not, it can't be delaminated, because it's all in all unevenness of the bark. So you really don't need to worry about putting a second, third, or however many coats you want to on the bark, because it's mechanical. But a smooth surface, you've got sand between the coats.
So 220s as high as you go?
Yeah. And that's what's recommended by the manufacturer. But if you do as lousy job sanding as I've done on this rushing through making these things, then you got to start all over. It had nothing to do with 220, it had to do with I didn't get between the different grades. So you still got that task of getting the marks out to each grade level. When you get down to 220, the varnish will flow it out. You won't be able to see it. And you get a high gloss finish. And then if you want matte, 4-aught steel, and then you've got a nice matte finish.
Say that again, if you want a mat, what do you do then?
Matte finish is 4-aught steel wool. You just rub it down. You just rub it down with 4-aught steel wool. I thought I had it in that set. So I forgot my steel wool, got my cement.
Thank you, Renee.
Next month, Harold is going to demo a solid rock and a good finish.
And he's also going to be our 90-year-old turner. So, woohoo, we got one of those. But we do need some younger people that are like a half a century.
Not pointing any fingers.